When people think of the great road courses throughout the United States, they think of Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, and Road America. Well, this track's a little bit newer in age. It hasn't been around. It's been around for barely a decade, but it's definitely established itself in such a short time as one of the great tracks in the United States. My name is Community Kona here with Liam Sheen tonight, and we're here for the next round of the Drivers Club at Road Atlanta here at COTA. And Liam, glad to have you in a booth. It's been a while since you've been in the booth, but nonetheless, glad to have you with me for some GT3 action here around this fantastic facility.
Yeah, it's great to be back. It's been about 2 years since my last broadcast on here, so that's crazy how time flies like that. But we are at a great racetrack, one of my favorites, Circuit of the Americas with these GT3 cars. As qualifying is underway right now, as we're having a look at, I believe that is Cameron Kemp. No, it's not.
Tyler Hoffman. We're currently looking at Mercedes.
Yeah, but yeah, he seems pretty quick. He's been pretty quick in practice, but the guy at his chase right now at the top of the board is David Madden with a 2:07.556, about 4/10 clear of Travis Brody.
And taking a look at the track listing, and we're in Austin, Texas, constructed back in 2012. It's kind of amazing. This track has felt like it's been around a lot longer than a decade, and there's the fun fact. It originally was called Speed City. I'm so glad they never called it that, because I don't think anyone would have taken this track seriously if they named it that.
And as the car goes for a loop here.
Yeah, we'll go down here quickly. There's a few laps already into qualifying. David Madden currently sitting at the top of the charts in his Ferrari. And looking to see if he was definitely the fastest in practice as well, so looking to see if he can carry that 8 machine to victory lane. And it's looking pretty good. He's 3/10 up on Travis Brody. He's currently sitting in second as 5 guys put down a time. Still waiting on the other 5, notably Todd Westphaling in the number 7, also in a Ferrari. Jason Owens as well in the 4. We've seen some decent speed out of his car, and also beautiful livery on that machine.
Yeah, it's a great looking car, and a big thing about COTA is that the off tracks are very, very strict here. So you only get 5 tries at it in this league. You usually get 2 in official racing and stuff like that, but there's 5 attempts. You get 5 tries to go down and put a good lap, a clean lap, one without a 0x or 1x to validate. Ooh, that's going to be close there. Ooh, that's a couple tenths lost there. So we're going to see if he can bring it back in here, Jason Owens.
Yeah, and I don't think they've readjusted. I know that, like on tracks like Red Bull Ring and Spa, they adjusted the track limits. I don't think they ever got to COTA yet with that. So I think, as you're saying, that it is still very unforgiving even if you dump a wheel out.
Yeah, it might even be as strict as just dipping a tire in the green or the red there. I mean, you could be very, very tight with your line, and you could still go off a little bit, and iRacing won't like that. But we're going to see he's going to come around the final corner. We're going to see if it's good enough for pole here. Timing line right here, contrary to real life, is right here at the start-finish line, and it's a 2:11.83. It's going to be about 4 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, I think definitely we saw him lose some time in the arena section. I think probably might have lost some time before that, but still has another chance to get a lap out there. I think this is, what, a second, third lap? Ooh, goes a little bit wide turn 1. We're seeing right there. That might have been an off track. We don't know, but he's definitely flirting with the limits around here.
Yeah, that's where all the speed is where you're pushing the limits of the track. That's how you get the quick lap time here, is you have to be on the edge of those limits here. As we see one car way up ahead that's experiencing with all those limits there. He's going to get in the way of Jason here. We'll see if he can get through the clean air, the dirty air here, but it doesn't look like he's on a good lap, so we're going to see if Jason can get by. Todd's going to let him go here.
Yeah, Todd Westphaling, the guy we were just looking at, trying to look at anyone else who's put in a time recently. Cory Freeman, I think we've just seen him jump up into 3rd place with his number 5 Audi.
Yeah, pretty decent time from him, about 1.3 off. The 2 guys at the front seem pretty untouchable. The 2 guys with 2K iRating in here, David Madden and Travis Brody, they're separated just about 4 tenths, so it could be a pretty close race between those 2.
Trying to tickle anyone else close. There's Todd Westphaling. We're just looking at Cameron Campbell. Whoa, hello, some side-by-side action in qualifying. Cameron Campbell, the Porsche you're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen. Going slowly through the hairpin. Tyler Hoffman, the Mercedes, right in front of him. Both these guys still yet to put down a time, and time is ticking away.
Yeah, in these heavy braking areas, especially that one hairpin right there, is where a lot of incidents can happen. People trying to outbrake one another, but then you step it over a little too much, as we see him a little bit squirrely on the straightaway here. This is where you start braking, and this is a really easy corner to miss. Ooh, gets barely warped down there, and we're gonna go into this corner. We want to take a little sweeping, wide sweeping apex here, and that's a little too much curb.
Yeah, it's a little too wide. And again, in the race, these guys are going to be able to go off the track as much as they want, but in qualifying, very strict limits of where you can go. Oh, and around he goes. And his Mercedes. And this section of track, it's so easy in an open wheel car like an F1 car or an Indy car, but in GT3 machinery, it is tough, it is slow, and it's very awkward to navigate, and we're seeing the 10 struggling to do so with the Mercedes, so you got to really let the car kind of settle in and then get back on the power, otherwise you're going to spin out like we saw him. Hopefully he can get another lap, and we only got 7.5 minutes. He's even sliding to the penultimate corner. Rear tire is really hot, and I think doesn't probably could use some more rear downforce, but it's so tough with COTA because you need the downforce, especially in Sector 1, but that long back straightaway, and even the front straightaway too, is not short by any means. You need that straightaway speed, so it's really tough to set up a setup at COTA.
Yeah, and the Achilles heel of these cars is when the car bites, you think you can open up the throttle a bit, but the next thing you know, at COTA, it'll start to you'll have to get into a turn, so you have to be a lot more easy on the throttle than one might think. As we have a look at Anthony Couch here, hasn't put a time in yet, but we'll see. With these cars, you have to be very careful with the throttle here because you can easily spin the tires or get the tires unhappy, and you could get them chirping away.
Couch working his way through Sector 3, working his way through. Not that view. Sorry, I was looking for that view. There we go. Working his way through the long right-hander, very tough, and then these final few corners got him just right. Takes it very conservatively, I think, just to get a lap in. Doesn't want to start all the way from the back. Oh, sorry, you're saying?
Oh yeah, and with turn 19, you have to be very, very careful with there because you can actually kind of cut a little bit of that curbing without getting a 1x, but it's a really fine line that you have to balance on. So if you miss that turn, it can get you pushed out to the off-track area, and your whole lap is ruined.
And Couch currently sitting in 7th place. Going to go flying through turn 1, 1x right there. So he's going to have to make another circuit around, and then he can start another attempt. Still no change up at the top. Everything remaining more or less the same. No one's been able to put in a whole lot of faster times. Because I think a lot of people, they're pushing these limits, and they're going off the track. And then lap times are really long around here. These guys are doing just over 2 minutes a lap. So when you make the mistake, it's another 2 minutes so you can back to the start-finish line. And they only also have 5 laps regardless in this qualifying session. It's not just 15 minutes that they got assigned. They only have 15 minutes and 5 laps available. So that's uses itself up pretty quick, especially if you get 1x here, 1x there.
And another thing to mention is the tires are only good for so long. I mean, there's a very sweet spot with the GT3 cars. Maybe lap 2, lap 3 is where your money lap is going to be, and then from there, more you spin out, the more you go wide, as we see here, the less good is going to be in your tires. So you got to be really careful with your driving because you only get so much tire before it starts to wear out.
Yeah, Cory Freeman working his way through the final few corners. We'll see, is this lap a little bit faster if he's starting a lap across the line for him. And that was an out lap, so going to be a flyer this time by.
Up the hill here. This will be a very, very calamity corner. I hear, on the start here, a lot of people tend to, spread out, try to funnel into that really tight left-hander, and it can cause a lot of incidents. You've seen in the NASCAR race where a bunch of drivers get together and they start spinning, and there could be a big pile up at the top of that corner.
I was seeing them going 5 wide through turn 1 in the NASCAR race. They really use they make the track really wide in that section for that particular reason. But the NASCAR drivers use every inch of asphalt, and they are making it 4 or 5 wide, and they're routinely on the restarts. So I don't think we're going to see that here. I think these guys are going to be a lot more conservative on the start, but it definitely does lean itself to some chaos, and that was completely by design with such a tight corner up a hill. They know what they're doing.
Especially up the hill on the start of the race, yeah, I'm sure the designers saw what was going to happen with that.
It definitely does not disappoint. Christopher Habib, haven't really mentioned him sitting in pit lane. I think he may be done for now. He actually is going to definitely be done for now because he's not. You need like at least 4 minutes to get out there and do outlap and a flying lap. As soon as the timer hits 0, because we have laps on these guys have laps on the board, it's going to end immediately. When the timer hits 0, they're not going to have time to continue their lap. So you're going to have to start your lap in the next next minute or so in order to get it in. Still waiting on Westfelling working his way on the back half of the course now, as yet to put a time in.
Him and Hoffman are yet to put in times. About 8 cars have run a lap. Spread about just over 5 seconds through the timing sheet. Slowest of those being Anthony Couch. Jason Owens also just ahead of him. But other than that, everyone else is kind of separated within 2-second range. I mean, maybe, you know, if David Madden or Travis Brody get together, it's going to be a really close race for third, as they're separated about just they got about 4 cars separated about 2/10.
Yeah, so I definitely think the race is going to be between the 8 and the 20, so it'll definitely be interesting to see that get underway. I'm curious to see, I imagine too, we may see the field be a little bit closer, because again, this is only counting the times that they've been putting down, and from the looks of it, it seems like race control has been busy deleting lap times left, right, and center for these guys. And again, I'm sure they're glad they don't have to deal with that. I'm glad. I remember almost losing my A license at the Spot 24 a while back because of the incident limit. Because you just dipped any wheel out and it would get you immediately. As Anthony Couch comes across the line, did not go faster this lap. And Kyle actually lost his A license and he's still never gotten it back.
Yeah, at COTA last year, I did that same exact thing. You know, I could be pretty quick with it, but you know, in the race, you know, you dip a tire out or something like that, and it'll eventually add up over a few races. So I think it was a fringe A class, and yeah, COTA did not help that. So I felt it would B class, and it hasn't recovered ever since.
It's tough. I mean, also, I think it's a matter of if you actually care, because I think I'm at the point with iRacing where I really don't care that much about it anymore. I probably would have just done it just to get it back to A class, but I'm sure Kyle definitely doesn't care. He doesn't really do official a whole lot. But qualifying pretty much over. Everyone else has pulled it in. Westfelling, unfortunately, wasn't able to get a clean lap in last time, so he's not going to be starting back in 9th, it seems, and Hoffman back in 10th. I'll actually pull up the full results here on the left-hand side of the screen, so we can get a look here before we go down to the grid. So Matt and Brody, top 2 by significant margin, 4/10 between them, Ferrari, Porsche, and then a string of Audis, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Back to Habib, then Campbell and Owens, Couch, and then, as you mentioned, Westfelling and Hoffman rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, it looks like the only BMW to set a time was Couch. I think that's one of the only BMWs in the field tonight. But yeah, Westfelling and Hoffman, they have their work cut out if they want to get closer to a podium spot. A lot of quick times between them and third, so it's going to be they got their work cut out for them tonight.
Absolutely here. And timer hitting to 0, so that means you're going to get ready for getting ready for race number 1. There was an issue last week at, not Brands Hatch, at Alton Park, when we were trying to get race 2 underway. Looks like, from what I can tell, that they've set up the server differently, so that shouldn't be an issue this time around. So we should get both of our races in this evening. So first is a 12-lap I guess heat race 1, and then got race 2, I think 18 laps on the book for that. So more racing for these guys. I'm sure they're definitely looking forward for it tonight here. And we have them lining up on the grid. Everyone's staring down turn number 1. We were talking about it. It's going to be intense to see who's going to try to maybe make it more aggressive than they maybe need to, and who's going to keep it conservative, because these guys don't have any fast repairs available to them. So if they make a mistake, it's going to cost them dearly.
Well, yeah, but if they screw up in this race, they could just use the rest of the race to learn. And for the main race, only 50 cars get out of this heat. So we'll see if they can get their way into the main race.
We'll definitely see. Still waiting on a few guys, it seems. So still haven't gone through yet. And Matt and Cory Freeman, your top 3.
It looks like Tyler Hoffman has left the session, so looks like we're gonna have 9 cars on the grid. Yeah, the 1 in 55 are gonna be on the front row here, and should be a pretty exciting race.
Here the engine's revving, and we're off and away. Well, a slow start for the Ferrari because, again, standing start, Ferrari's your worst enemy. The Porsche, meanwhile, gets off and away, so trying to see if he can extend his lead. Off into turn number 1 they go.
It's a tight corner here, and oh, there's contact at the back here. One car's around. Sure who that was.
Cory Freeman, the number 5, is around Travis Brody. We looked at him to get away from the line with an amazing head of steam. Ahead of David Madden, Cameron Campbell, your top 3 as we work through the S's for the first time.
Yeah, and these S's are really hard to balance. It's really not lenient with off tracks here as we see them 1-2 coming through the corner. David Madden's probably kicking himself for that start there. Thought he had it, and then he's all over the back bumper of Travis Brody here. Up through this kink here.
Oh.
It's really tough here. He's going to go to the inside, and he's going to try to outbrake him into this corner. And looks like Travis is going to let him have it.
Indeed, I was actually surprised. I thought he was going to maybe wait for the back straightaway. Just use a slipstream, but Madden wants the lead and wants it immediately going to take it away. And Brody sticking out of line. Meanwhile, battle of Audis in behind. We saw one Audi already spin it earlier. That was Cory Freeman already back in 9th. Denise, Campbell, and Habib, your 3rd, 4th, and 5th place drivers here heading into... Ooh, and car on the wall in the background.
In the background.
Jason Owens on the straightaway, surprisingly. Curious what happened to him there.
Yeah, his car is all sideways, so he's going to have to probably bring that in, and that's probably race over for him. So we'll see him in the main race.
He's drifting to the side of the track already, then coming back right. Oh, that's a hardware.
Wheel. Yeah, you see the wheel instantly cut to the left like that. Yeah, that means the wheel is disconnected. So, yeah, it looks like race over for him. That car has seen better days. But in this battle for 3rd, it's Cal Denise. I believe that's how you say his name.
Yes.
Leading the Porsche and the Audi behind him.
Beeb, that last Audi in sequence. There's Cameron Campbell in the middle of an Audi sandwich.
As they come to complete lap 1, it's going to be David Madden about, I want to say, around 1.1 seconds over Travis Brody, and he's going to open to 1. Everyone seems to single file out a little bit, so yeah. Yeah,
everyone's slowly getting strung out here at lap number 2 of 12. We're going to see maybe if Brody's going to be able to chase Madden down. Again, based off the qualifying delta, he's got a tall order. And you already see, as you mentioned, the gap about 1.1 seconds at the moment between these two. So we'll see if Brophy's maybe got some speed in his Porsche to try to catch the Ferrari up ahead.
Yeah, and he seems about even through this S's section, but the part of the track that really kills him is right here. As you see, he runs it way too wide as David holds it nice and tight. And we're going to see also here, yeah, he loses a little bit of time there because he can't really get his car onto the curb just as well as David Madden can.
Oh yeah, and a little bit of a shallow entry and a poor exit. Madden's just using this to try to get away. Actually didn't lose that much time in the hairpin. Actually got through maybe a little bit better than Madden. Now he can try to use a little bit of slipstream to try to reel that Ferrari back in. And behind, though, talking about that battle for 3rd, already starting to stretch out between them. Denise, Campbell, Habib still. Anthony Couch, and behind in the BMW, he's trying to chase these guys down.
Yeah, pretty impressive run for him so far. He's started at the back, so he had to come without a qualifying time, and he's about a second behind Christopher Habib, I think?
Yes.
And, yeah, so he's putting a pretty solid race together. Stuff he can learn for the feature race, but you can have a look at their line, see what they're doing, and try to learn from it.
Working his way on through. Seeing Tyler Hoffman, it looks like he's rejoined back, has gone on the track, though he's very far away from the rest of the field. Actually doesn't even show him because he didn't start. Doesn't show any information for him, but currently back in 10th place. He's got Jason Owens. Next guy he can try to catch. Oh!
2nd place down pit road. He has a penalty. I'm not sure for what. Maybe he cut the track and didn't serve the slowdown. As we got a car around, Cal Denise out of the final turn.
Ooh, that's an awkward place to be around.
Yeah, it's not a great place. Oh, and he's backed it into the wall. So, yeah, not a great corner for the 2nd and 3rd place driver.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe push it. Oh, yeah, he pushed it in a little bit hot in here, and around she went. Oh, great avoidance by the Porsche and Habib in the other Audi.
Oh, great heads-up driving for Anthony Couch there. He barely misses him, and ooh, back into the guardrail.
Yeah, that's what
The
you were
wing is not
talking
gonna
about.
like that.
And you can already see the damage to the left rear of that wing. So definitely not going to be doing him any favors. Todd Westphaling, the Ferrari behind. I'm sure he's looking at Denise and that dent wing and thinking he's got a chance to get another spot. Oh, and Couch now around in the S's.
Yeah, and yeah, it looks like he got a little too much curb here and just stepped out. Yes. So yeah, he caught too much curb there. Tried to cut it in for the next corner, and there was just too much wheel.
Well, the bright side didn't hit anything, so just tires maybe a little bit hot. That's all he's really got to deal with. But yeah, those S's are so tough to get right. Again, this track is a lot easier than a high downforce car. I mean, that's what it was built for. It was built as a Formula One track first and foremost. But in slower cars that aren't as nimble, it's tough. Those S's, you need to hit them right. If you're off just by a little bit, you're either A, going to give up a lot of time, or B, cut the track and have to serve a slowdown, or C, go spinning off.
Yeah, and one of those cars. Yeah, with the GT3 cars, it's kind of like a boat. You're trying to steer it on through the S's, and it's just really tough to get it steered correctly. Oh, Cameron Campbell loses it right behind the Audi there.
Yeah, it was just on the back of Habib fighting for second place. Had to go off, so he's going to lose some time. Meanwhile, how about Cory Freeman? We saw him dead last at the end of lap number 1. He's found himself up into 4th on only lap 3.
Yeah, a great turnaround for him. But up front, we see David Madden. He's loved the outcome of the past couple laps with second and third spinning, and he just has clean track all ahead of him.
Yeah, he's been looking pretty good. Speed's not been so much of an issue. He's been one of the faster guys. Usually it's been luck or something or the other not going his way in some of these races, but he's really got no one around him, so he's got nothing but clean racetrack up ahead. It's a matter of him making sure he doesn't make a mistake. See him flying through the S's.
That's a decent chunk of racetrack. We only saw just at the end there another car coming to frame. That's how far ahead he is, about 12.6 seconds. So, yeah, he has nothing but clean track ahead of him. As we see Christopher Habib, yeah, he was backwards or not? No, he wasn't backwards. The guy behind him was on the first lap, and he's come up into second.
Yeah, looking at the back of Campbell, it's Cory Freeman. We were just talking about him. Freeman already catching up to Campbell for 3rd place. And a much tighter line. Gives up a little bit on exit, but is closing in rapidly to the back of his Porsche.
Yeah, I think it's something with the Porsche. It's a little, it's not really great in the left-handers there. As you see, this car really struggles up through the left-hand turns. Doesn't quite get as much to the curb in the racing line as the Audi does, but Audi and the Ferrari. So it seems like that's just a BOP problem with the cars. And if you're not sure what that is, it's when the iRacing has to nerf another car to make it slower so it can be in the same class and not have a pretty unfair advantage over the others.
Yep, and it's a pain for iRacing. It's a pain in real life too. I can only imagine. I can only imagine the amount of yelling and bickering back and forth between all the manufacturers, especially because there's a lot more manufacturers than real life, having to deal with all of them and negotiate to make sure no one's car is slower than the other and no one's car is too much faster than the other. Can imagine the nightmare. I'm glad I don't have to deal with it. Whoever's job that is, I am sorry for you. But Freeman catching up in his Audi, working his way through the carousel now. And I think, should he not make a mistake, this should be fairly textbook. We'll see if Campbell's got anything hidden, if he can try to make that Porsche wider and defend this position, but that 5 looking pretty fast.
Yeah, it does look pretty quick as he's recovered nicely, almost back up to his starting position. But, yeah, so pretty good recovery drive for him. Lost about a net of 1 spot, so about 20 seconds off the leader. I mean, for being backwards, I mean, he's running laps that are about 2-3 seconds quicker than the guy ahead. You could see the difference in braking under there.
Yeah, it seems Campbell's a lot easier on the brakes, but is a lot better on exit. Opposite for Freeman, a lot better on the brakes, but not as much on exit. Different in driving philosophy.
Yeah, and it's a trade-off. You get a lot more corner speed through braking earlier, braking nicer. You get more time to point the car and get it nice and happy through the corner. But as you can see, Cory's really sending it through the corners, and you saw there a prime example of it. The Porsche was able to set up for this corner, but Cory lost a lot on exit, so he's able to make up a lot of entry, but not exit.
Yeah, that entire first sector is also all about flows. So if you set up for one corner, you got to set up about 2 corners in advance, because otherwise your line's going to be off by maybe just a little bit, or you're not didn't turn in as quickly as you could have. And you saw Freeman, I think he set up that last part pretty beautifully. He's now 0.5 of a second in behind Campbell. Is going to try to get a little bit of slipstream here.
Yeah, and that Porsche is a pretty big car to get some draft off of, so he'll be able to just get in line behind him. And this is a big passing opportunity. Is he going to go for it here? Not quite. But he's really good under braking compared to the Porsche, as you see him close all the way up. Wow.
Yeah, it scared a lot, significantly more speed mid-corner. Again, Campbell just kind of tiptoeing his way through the section, who goes a little bit wide there. He's got to be careful, because as we were just talking about, that Freeman a lot better on the brake, so if he needs to set it up the inside, we know that Audi can definitely get on the binders quicker. It's a fantastic run here towards the carousel. Doesn't quite get enough to go along the right-hand or left-hand side. He's got to stay in behind, but he's hounding the back of that Porsche.
Yeah, that Porsche seems like it has a lot more exit speed, but really sacrifices a lot in the entry to middle of the corner. So it doesn't matter how much the Audi behind him sends it, the Porsche can just kind of drive off, especially off these corners. It can just drive off straight. As you see, the Audi kind of wiggles and has a little bit more trouble getting the power down.
Speaking of which, another Audi entering the picture slowly but surely. Cal Denise in the 55. Catching up, starting 4th, currently in 5th. He's got 2 guys directly ahead of him, and we're just over halfway through. We're actually just under halfway through this race number 1. So it could be a 3-car battle too. Just hope his internet stays intact in time. Oh, and side by side through the S's. That's not going to work. There they go, both off hard to the wall.
Yeah, they probably not going to be too happy about that one, but especially that Porsche. I don't think that was that Audi's corner there. So as you see,
yeah, I was kind of amazed. I didn't even expect them to be side by side, but I guess Campbell just, yeah, he got a very poor exit out of turn number 1. There you see Freeman taking advantage of that, and then both of them
go around
ending
the outside.
Yeah,
this is a very bad passing opportunity, especially trying to funnel it down into here. And yeah, one came. I'm not sure how to call that one, because that's a really, really brave spot to take a spot there, but at the same time, the 9 kind of missed the apex there, so not really sure what either of them could have done there. It's just kind of 50-50 on both ends.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. As you mentioned, yeah, Campbell went a little bit off. Freeman was probably not planning on giving him much space to begin with, but yeah, usually I don't even think about making a pass through there. I'm usually of the thought I'll just kind of stick in behind, maybe make a pass on the back straight, because unless it's the last lap or something, I really don't want to try to make a pass in the S, because it's already a small racing line that it's hard to hit. Hitting it side by side with someone, and again, in a GT car, which is a lot clumsier to get through there, it is a whole nother workload to work with, working side by side with someone else, and I've seen very few times where that works out well for drivers, yeah. So not too surprised on the outcome there.
Yeah, I haven't really seen maybe a single time where, going into the S's, someone made an overtake without the other car going off, so pretty brave maneuver there. Didn't work out for either of them, so that funnels up. I'm not sure who's in 3rd now. Cal Denise. He's the guy that was backwards into that guardrail there, and I'm sure he's a little fearful every time he gets out of that final corner now. But
you always look at that corner, you spin out in a wreck, and you look at it a little different every single time. But for Denise, I think he's happy. We made that his life easy. He was catching those 2 prior to that incident, so it's going to officially put him in 3rd place. Christopher Habib 9.8 seconds up the road from the 55 car who we're just looking at, and he's currently sitting in 2nd, and he is 18 seconds and change in behind David Madden. Again, hadn't had a whole lot to report from the 8. He's just been out there kicking butt, but in the fastest lap of the race by a long shot. And this is according to the official laps. In fact, some people have not gotten a clean lap in, so it shows no best lap for them.
And fall-off's about just over a second, maybe under a second actually, about 9/10. His last lap was a 2:08.1. The next car behind was a 2:09.9. So he's in pretty much of a league of his own up here. Not really much of a challenge from anybody.
You see, speaking of a challenge, you see a bit of a race for position in behind Travis Brody. We saw him, his not speeding penalty. He got a penalty who we assume was for not serving a slowdown. Not really many other black flags you can get a penalty for out on the track. So he's closing in on Todd Westfling. It's going to be a battle for 7th.
Yeah, I don't think there's a incident penalty to you can get a maximum amount of incidents to get a drive-through. So must have just cut a corner and didn't really get a and slow it down and serve it. So Travis Brody is trying to get on a recovery drive here as fastest lap of the race, 2:07.0 from David Madden on lap 8. Wow.
Yeah, he's really been against a really solid lap times again. No one really quite close at the moment. Everyone else kind of in the 208s, 209s of the fastest drivers remaining. Brody, the second fastest on track with a 208.9. So a lot more time to be gained, but I'm sure for Brody, he's just trying to get himself up the order.
Yeah, he's about 1 minute behind the leader, so it's about half a lap. So I think that's he's not really thinking about setting up for a podium or a great finish with the leader, but he's trying to make a recovery drive and get by this car ahead of him.
Yeah, both of them cut that. Whoa! Both of them cut the apex of the carousel a little bit, and Westfling getting on the brakes. I think because Westfling had to give up time. I'm surprised that Brody doesn't have to give up time as well. Took a huge chunk of curve. They basically the Max Verstappen line. If anyone remembers that incident from COTA here, where basically Max Verstappen racing for the win cut the curb on the inside of the carousel, and the steward said, nope, you have to give that spot back, and was demoted, I think, 1 or 2 places after that, after the checkered flag came out. But it looks like Brody's still out there. Who's going to go run way wide in turn 1.
And that might be a slowdown. That's a bit generous at the corner there. But, yeah, these cars, that's the hardest thing to know with these cars is, you know, you visually see where the differences are made up, but, you know, there'd be times like that where under braking, you would get on the brakes a little normal or a little earlier, and it's still a lot later than the other car ahead. So, especially with the pace difference between these two, about, I want to say 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's really hard to kind of anticipate where the time is made up. So, if you're the faster car, it's a little scary when you have another car ahead of you and, you know, they hit the brakes a lot earlier than you anticipate.
Looking at Cameron Campbell. Back of the track. I'm surprised actually, his car looks pretty good. I'm a bit surprised. I don't see any damage on that machine, despite the fact that he was going into a wall.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of dinged up.
There we go. As he turned,
the angle there.
Yeah. I was gonna say, from this angle, it looks fine. As soon as he makes the corner, you can start to see the dents on it. There you go. Oh yeah, you can see how much dented that right rear wing is, but definitely could be a lot worse. Oh, but gets caught out though.
Yeah, the lack of wing there definitely showed in that left-hander. So yeah, Cameron Campbell, he's trying to make a drive, just nurse the car home and try to start up in a decent spot as we see. Ooh, a little bit of a slide for David Madden, our leader. Slides it through the S's there. But I think it'll just be a cruise home. I think he's just chasing for a quick lap time, actually. Right now.
I mean, I would. If you have a 22-second lead, might as well,
yeah.
Right? Got nothing really to lose as long as he doesn't bin it, but he's been far from doing that, so he is looking good. Small little mistake, only mistake we've really seen him.
He's still lapping 2:07.5s. I mean, that would still be good enough for third on the grid if he had to queue or throw that lap down for a, you know, to grid the car. So, yeah, about almost a 4-second pace advantage over the second place car. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you can see as he was turning off the straightaway, Habib was just entered on the straightaway. So 22 seconds and counting between himself and second place. Yeah, no real other close battles in the track. Closest one was that battle with Campbell and Couch. But with Couch spinning out, or sorry, with Campbell spinning out, he's separated that gap up to about 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, the next battle I think we're going to see is between Travis Brody and Cameron Campbell, especially with his little off there. He's making a pretty decent charge up through the field here. Not too far behind the next car up. I think with his pace advantage over the next car ahead, I think we'll be seeing him catch the number 9 fairly quickly. There he is up the road.
Yeah, 2:08 was Brody's last lap, and we've seen Brody be pretty quick, obviously starting up in second place. Campbell, though, fastest clean lap is a 2:11 flat, basically. I think probably is a little bit quicker than that, maybe around a 2:10, but I do think that Brody is the faster of these two. Question is, does he have enough time with just about 3 laps remaining? Let's see, where's Madden? Yeah, about 3 laps remaining for those guys.
As we see it back here, Brody, I think, yeah, he will definitely get there. It's just a matter of whether or not he can pass him. Porsche versus Porsche, so we'll see see how this shakes out. Travis seems way quicker though, so one thing is getting there. He has about 2 laps to do it and pass him cleanly, so we'll see how Travis can guard his way up to him. Seems like the only battle on the racetrack too, so
Yeah, and you can see he's catching that. Porsche is getting a lot closer in the windshield. You can see Brody working his way through the corner. He's working pretty well. Last lap, 207.2. He's really stepped up the pace.
yeah, that's 3 seconds quicker than our leader. I think the leader had a little bit of an off, but yeah, Travis Brody, he's been really stepped up to the plate here. I think with this pace advantage, maybe he could take that into the feature race and have something for the number 8. So we'll see him catch him pretty quickly through here. This has been one of his better corners on the track, Cameron Campbell. Especially with that damaged rear wing, he doesn't have as much downforce as he did. As you see him hug that apex there, way better than that 9 did, as we saw.
Yeah, and as you mentioned too, that rear wing, you saw him get caught out by that, and I think he's had one other spin as well, besides the one through the S's. So he's got to be careful and make sure that rear end doesn't come out, which is tough to do because you know a guy's chasing you down. You know you got maybe 2.5 laps left. If you can try to stay ahead, he can hold off for position. He's actually also catching back on Anthony Couch. Wow. So we got 3 cars closing in on each other here.
You visibly saw how much he made up under that braking zone there. So I think we'll see the pass maybe in the next few corners. As you see through the next set of corners, we have that weavy section in the track. It's going to be pretty big opportunity. As you see under braking here, we'll see if he can catch him. And oh yeah, he cooks it in a little deep. So that number 8 or 20 seems to be way quicker through this section.
Yeah, working their way through the arena section, tying through there. You see Anthony Couch up ahead, and his BMW. Oh, he's going to spin out. He's going to spin off to the sideline, though, so he shouldn't get involved.
And he rejoins.
Tries to rejoin quickly, but unfortunately he's going to lose both those spots. Both the drivers, both Campbell and Brody, avoid him. And so one more spot for Brody. Can he get one more here? He's got 2 laps to make this pass happen, which based off of his pace, this should be pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah, it should be a pretty easy pass here, but these two have been really close to each other. And oh my gosh, that 9 has pretty decent exit speed, but entry speed, the 20 is just so much quicker.
Yeah, we saw this with when he was fighting Cory Freeman earlier on in the race too. Just is not quite maximizing his braking ability. I think because he's prioritizing the exit, but I think he's prioritizing it a little bit too much in some cases. It just kills his entry into the corner. That's where Brody's been making up a huge amount of time. Here they come through the S's.
Yeah, he's giving up a little bit more than he's gaining. So as you see through the S's, we saw. Oh, and he clips the. Oh, he gets too much trying to maximize through there, and he's gonna go off and spin it around.
As I was talking about, through these S's, you make one mistake, you're either going to cut the track, you're going to fly off. And you saw him ramp the anti-cut curve on the apex of these corners to prevent people from cutting.
And he just tried to, oh my gosh, he hit that first corner pretty well. Way better than I thought he would, and then he just cut it in too much.
Yeah, just turn it a little bit early, and then once you do that, not a whole lot you can do, except try to go straight, but you'll end up missing the next corner or two by doing so. So Campbell off to 7th place now. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to catch Anthony Couch back for 6th at this point, unless Couch makes a huge mistake. So Brody, fairly easy scrabble for position for him. Going to easily take 5th place. He's definitely not going to catch Freeman, who's 17 seconds up the road, so this is probably going to be where he ends race number 1. As I say that, Madden has taken the white flag and working his way through the S's now. Yeah,
first 206 we've seen from him. New quickest lap, 206.9. And yeah, 206.944. So that would have been pole if he ran that in Q. So that's just pretty impressive, the pace advantage he has.
It's hard to get off. He's actually looking like he may go even quicker, according to our shows the pace. Still not exactly sure how this works with ATVO, and it shows the general pace of these guys. Not sure what that delta is based off of, but he's looking pretty quick, so I think he may be able to make an even quicker lap on the final one. We'll stay on board with him. Really no other close battles going on the track, so will stay with Madden for this last half a lap. Just a textbook race for him. Not really a whole lot of mistakes. We saw him get a little bit loose in one of the S's as he was just pushing so hard for the fastest lap. No extra point. Actually, I don't think there's really any extra points to the fastest lap. And even if there was, I don't think really anyone was quite close to catching him for that. Maybe Travis Brody, but I don't think he would have been able to pass Madden.
Yeah, Travis Brody. I think he'll be able to get something in the feature, but yeah, his quickest lap was a 2:07.2. I think that might be decent enough to be able to put up a challenge for him, but he's fallen off a decent bit as far as pace-wise goes. He's running in the 2:08 still, so David's in the 2:06s, so that just shows you how much quicker he is than the Porsche.
And working his way through the final few corners. He's got over half a minute back to the second place driver. To say he dominated this race is quite an understatement as he works his way through the final corner. We'll keep the lap times up here. We'll see if he's able to surpass it. Across the line right there for Madden. It's going to be a 2:06.793. So it goes even faster in his last lap. Sure, he's going to be happy with that. And all the way back to Christopher Habib, who's also been very quiet race for him in second place. It looks like Denise has been eating into his lead a little bit here and there, but I don't think it's going to be enough as he works through the final few corners. Quiet race for the 14. I think he's going to enjoy that as he works his way through the final corner. He will end up finishing in second place. And moving on back to Cal Denise, his dented upper wing didn't cause him any more issue. I'm sure he probably feels like he probably could have been sitting in at least second place. So third place to round out your podium for race number 1. Cory Freeman, another dented rear wing. In his Audi, he will come home in fourth place. Travis Brody, we saw work his way up through the order. I was kind of hoping that he could get a few more positions to get up closer to Madden. These guys are going to be starting where they finish as he runs a little bit wide. He's going to be very careful because if you can see him going really slow here. He got a not speeding, sorry. He got a cut course penalty, so I have to give that up before you cross the line or you're going to get a massive penalty at the end. Looks like he gave that up.
Yeah, there's a generous amount of curb that he took as you see the next car, Anthony Couch, crosses the line and I believe 6th place?
Yes,
and, yeah.
6th place for him.
So solid race for him. And Cameron Campbell definitely could have gone better as he comes across the line, losing a spot, comes across P7. And
Todd Wassling as he works through the final corner. Now he'll be your last lead lap finisher back in 8th. Jason Owens in 9th. And Tyler Hoffman back in 10th. Going to see at least Hoffman get on the grid. I'm sure he's going to probably be significantly happier not being in no man's lane the entire race and being able to actually race with other people for the feature race here. We're going to cut to a break just for a little bit here so you can get a glass of water, and we'll be right back here for the feature. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back here for the feature race this time here at COTA. We're going to get down to the grid really quickly. Everyone jumping on board to start this next race here. We got David Manning lining up on pole, Habib, Denise, Freeman, Brody. Your top 5, everyone running the engines. We'll see this time if Madden's able to get off the line. That was his Achilles heel last race. Only real big mistake he made was coming off the line, struggling to do so. A little bit of a better jump, but still struggling in the Ferrari. A significantly better jump, though, from the 55 of Cal Denise.
Yeah, what a start by him, and a bunch of cars are going to lose spots here as see the 8 come into the corner.
Oh, came around.
And not the turnaround he wanted after the heat last time. So feature race has the 8 car cycles out into 3rd on the start. He's a little bit of work cut out for him. But,
and a big curb strike for Habib. We hit the anti-cut curve we saw him earlier. Oh, and in behind, spin from Anthony Couch in the middle of the field. Looks like everyone else is able to avoid him. Chaos in sector 1 for these guys.
Coming and no contact there. So that was a pretty close one there. But Cal Denise with a great start, made up 3 spots on the grid, and that'll put him up into 1st. But as you see back here, the car that was giving him the biggest challenge, that would be Travis Brody. He's in 5th, didn't make any spots on the start there, but you see a bunch of cars getting squirrely around him.
There's the Mercedes of Tyler Hoffman finally in the mix with everyone else, duking it side by side. You see Brody trying to get at least alongside the Mercedes to get past him into the braking zone. He's trying to catch up to Madden, and now has a shot before Madden gets some clean air. Again, the only one I think that could really stand toe-to-toe with him. He's going to go into the braking zone, 3 wide into turn 12. Hoffman gets punted around into Habib. Habib almost goes flying into Freeman. And that was chaotic right there.
Yeah, that's going to put some decent right front damage, or left front damage on his car. No, right front. Yeah, that was a pretty generous move. One moved 3, another moved 3, and tried to make it squeeze and work, and didn't.
Yeah, everyone's starting at a completely different angles. I think probably for Habib, I don't even think he realized he was 3 wide probably till the very last second. So Brody going to win in all of that. Habib trying to fight with Freeman. Freeman to the inside. Oh, and both of them go spinning off the track in the penultimate corner. Looks like both of them going to get away with minimum damage, though.
Yeah, back up front, Cal Denise had a pretty decent first lap, holding his ground over David Madden. 2:09.0 on the opening lap for him, so solid start.
Yeah, solid start. However, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to this for much longer, as you can see Madden closing in significantly on the back of the 55. I'm curious to see how much of a fight this 55 is going to put up. You can see even through the X's too, already to the back of him.
I know one car that likes him to put up a really good fight is that number 20 of Travis Brody. He seems fairly quick, decent right front damage though, so we'll see if it'll be enough to catch him. But I'm sure what the 8 is thinking right now is he hopes that he can hold off that Ferrari so that number 20 can get up there.
Yeah, I think this is only kind of hope and prayer for a win at the moment, because once Madden gets in clean air, it's going to be tough. Ooh, and Denise not even going to put up a fight. At least it looked like he was trying to wave him on by. So Madden to the lead easily through the hairpin on the far end of the track. Brody, any chance at a defense there? That's probably not exactly what he needed. So he's got about 4.5 seconds till he catches the back of the 55.
And David just said something over the voice chat. Didn't see what he said though.
I would assume it was a thank you.
So I don't mind if we race for it, Cal. So.
Wow. Well.
Yeah. You got by him pretty quickly without ease, or without any hardship there. So
I think Cal figured it was gonna turn out that way, regardless. So I think he was just like, "Yeah, you can take the spot. Let's try to hold on a second here for as long as he can."
As we see him start to drive away a little bit, 55 is just gonna sit solemnly in 2nd, and here comes the next car, the 20. Not too far behind. He's had a decent lap to make up some time. As you see the next car ahead, just barely in frame. With everything that's happened on the first lap to him, I think it's pretty solid.
And taking a look a little further back behind, Jason Owens trying to catch up to Todd Westfling. Westfling managing to get his way into 4th place through all the carnage. A little bit of a poor exit off the final corner. started this race in 8th, up into 4th. He's got another fellow Ferrari, the number 4, Jason Owens, chasing down. We saw Owens was out of race number 1 pretty early on after he had some hardware failure or hardware glitch. Turned his car straight into the back straightaway wall, and it looks like that's fixed out, and he's ready to go here.
Yeah, that wheel disconnect is something you don't like to happen because, especially when you go into a guardrail, that car is most definitely gonna get destroyed. So, yeah, it seems like he's had a pretty decent turnaround from hitting that guardrail, but unfortunate part of it is he didn't get all that practice that he would have gotten in that heat. So, he's just kind of winging it for now.
Yeah, but doing a pretty good job at doing so. Already caught up to 4th place. See if Westflink can try to find another beautiful paint scheme in that Ferrari.
Yeah, bunch of good-looking cars.
Oh, Westflink goes really wide in the hairpin, and it looks like Owens, some target fixation, also does the same.
A bunch of good-looking cars in the field. I guess the exception being the bright green ones, which don't look too bad, but would like a little bit more design on them, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit of a harsh green. Yeah, that's the best way. It's very, very bright green. 2 of them at the top of the field.
The same colors. Huh.
I was gonna say, it does look like. I think that I almost want to say that's like the brightest shade that's just like pure green.
Yeah, I think that's one of the brighter colors you can have on the spectrum, I guess.
Yeah.
Besides being like cyan and maybe a bright yellow like a Menards yellow, but other than that, I don't think it can get much brighter than that. So, as we see him come through the corner, a bunch of connection issues for this car. The next car behind, the 20, is catching him pretty quickly. Travis Brody catching him fairly quickly.
Yeah, working through the final section. Always like riding on board with the 20, and even Madden for that matter. Both of them hitting their marks nearly perfect. If not, you can definitely visually see how much harder they're charging through these corners. I think for Calanese, the objective is just get to the end solidly, but for Brody, he's been charging these corners hard. Last lap for Brody, a 27.195. For Madden, 07.033. So only about 100th or so off of Madden's time. So Brody's keeping him honest. Problem is he's gonna have to start eating at that at some point.
Yeah, the problem with it is like this seems like this car doesn't have as much long run as the Ferrari does up front. So with all that clean air plus a 5-second advantage and being slower off the rip, I don't think the Porsche is going to have too great of a time trying to reel in that gap. But never know. He's definitely picked up the pace since the heat, but it's definitely a big mountain to climb.
Denise going wide in the hairpin. Brody not as much, under a second gap between these two. In behind, I see a battle closing in. There's Todd Westfling and Owens. They've exchanged positions. Oh, and it looks like Owens is going a little bit wide. Westfling not as much. Freeman also in behind. So 3-way battle for 4th place.
That's going to allow him to get the nice drive off there. I guess he took that wide corner on a little bit on purpose because allows him to get the power down a little easier and smoother. So as you see the 5 here trying to get a double slipstream. And not going to quite get there. He tried to, but
I think he was thinking about braking Westfling. Unfortunately, Westfling got a pretty decent, did a decent job on the brakes there. So, oh, it actually looks like Westfling was going to let him on by.
Maybe a slowdown from earlier. I know if he hit that kink a little bit too hard, it'll get you. That's a pretty decently long straightaway, so might have had to give it up there.
A little bit wide for Jason Owens up ahead. So now Owens and Freeman looking like they may have a scrap for position 2. Both these cars similar in pace. And Freeman,
the thing I noticed is how wide some of these cars are taking the corner. You could see a bunch of like line variation through that that carousel there. You see the car ahead being the number 4 of Jason Owens. He takes a really wide entry, then exits wide on exit, but Cory Freeman, he kind of holds it tighter and closer to the curbing as we have a pass for second. Cal lets Travis Brody on by.
We'll stick on that. I think we'll stick on this battle here. These guys got a little bit closer. You can see how both of them take the S's here. They work their way on through. Can make up a lot of time. You can lose a lot of time in this section. Really depends on the driver. And both of them hitting it nice and tight and tidy. I think Freeman a little bit more so.
Yeah, notice as far as lap times go, is quickest car on track is the number 20. He actually set a very quick lap as a car goes wide there.
Yeah, Owen's going wide through there. Just couldn't hit those last 2 corners, and Freeman doesn't have to wait for the hairpin to get the pass on, which is where I was thinking he would get it done. And there you see Freeman get his way on through.
And he gets his way on by, and he's going to immediately have another challenge from the number 7 just behind him. And these two were battling out a little earlier. We'll see if he can get him on round 2 this time.
Yeah, you can see Owen's getting a pretty solid slipstream here. Approaching the braking zone, is actually going to back off, so it's like he doesn't want to be too aggressive here, and he's going to sit in behind the number 5.
Yeah, just let the spot happen, or the pass happen. No need to send it up the inside, so he's just going to sit behind him and let it play out. As you see, that number 7's way better in the curbing here. As you see the Pier for second 20 car.
I actually want to take a look at the lap times. Look at that, 206.6 for Brody. That was faster than even Madden's fastest lap last race. Not sure if Madden's put in a faster lap. Last time through for Madden, 207.3, 207.2. So this battle's not quite over yet. If Brody can get in some solid laps and get them in consistently, he may catch up. And curious to see, because we haven't quite seen Madden under pressure yet. We saw him pretty much just kind of take off and away, but I'm sure he's looking at his relative now and realizing this 8 slowly creeping in.
Yeah, his heat wasn't mistake-free. He had made a few mistakes here and there. You see a few 208s, 209s sprinkled into his mainly 207 lap race, so he hasn't had a mistake-free heat. And this race, he gave up a ton of time one lap, and allowed, with Travis Brody's really quick 206.65, it allowed him to really make up some time there. So when Travis hits it right, he can ride a mid 206, which is almost 6 tenths quicker than what the leader's lapping up front. But as you see, these two are pretty evenly matched right now.
The big thing for Brody, I think, is going to make sure he doesn't overdrive and make mistakes. It's so hard when you're at that limit. Essentially the same thing what we were talking about with Madden. When you're so close to that limit, just may make more and more mistakes. And can't afford to do that. He needs to make up as much time as humanly possible here with about 12 laps to go. So lap 6 of 18.
Yeah, he has to keep applying the pressure, and by doing that, he can't make any mistakes himself. He can't go for it all at once, but he has to slowly start cutting into his time so he can get closer and closer, maybe pressure the 8 into a mistake.
Here's Christopher Habib. Speaking of mistake, we saw him go off the track earlier on in the S's, ended up striking the curb. We saw Campbell spinning out in turn number 1. Both of these guys fighting for position for 6th place here.
Yeah, and these two, yeah, there's a little bit of history between these two. I believe he's the one that got into him through the S's that one time, so a little bit of history. Maybe Cameron has it on the back of his mind right now, but yeah, that Audi's starting to catch up to that Porsche pretty quickly.
A tight line for Campbell. Habib using a little bit more of the racetrack, so he is closing in on the number 14. And a nice tidy line. Question is going to be for the 14, where do you make that pass? If I was him, definitely don't do it in the S's. Do it anywhere else but the S's.
Yes, especially mid of the S's, you don't want to do it through there. But this is a pretty decent passing opportunity here, up and through this corner. So maybe if you can get through it here nice and tidy next time, you'll be able to get to the inside of that 9.
Yeah, really good final corner for Habib, but loses a little bit of ground to the Porsche up ahead. Both these guys running 6th and 7th.
He has a slipstream up here, so he'll have a little bit of a run up through this corner. As you see, the Porsche turns in a little bit earlier than that the Audi does. So maybe that's just a difference in lines, maybe preference, maybe the car likes it a little differently. But as you see through here, this is a decent place to make up some time. But yeah, the Audi is way quicker than this Porsche.
Oh, much tighter line there. Campbell giving up a lot of time, and here he comes. Here comes the 14 of Habib. Can he make it happen, though? Those first set of S's, though, not really the best plays. These next set, though, a lot more viable to make a pass. Nowhere near as treacherous, and we've seen a lot of passes come here. Audis, I'm not sure if this is an Audi thing or not, but a lot of the Audis have been flying through that last set of S's a lot better than the Porsches and the Ferraris, and have been making a lot of passes happen there. Oh, Habib looking to the outside of the hairpin, though. Oh, and Campbell, did he run him off?
Contact.
Yeah.
I don't think he ran him off, but he definitely gave him a little bit of a fender check there. So see if the 14's really happy about that. I'm sure the 9's not too happy about the last race, so it's probably just being a little bit cheeky with the 14 right now.
We'll see if this goes full out NASCAR. And again, if I'm curious if anyone here ever watched that finish recently. Whoa! It's starting to look like it.
That's the moment where you get on the brakes and you're like, oh, that's a little too much. So you can see him swerve a little bit out of the way. He's trying to not hit that 9. So I think he's trying to put a lot of pressure on him. I don't think he's trying to hit him though. So I doubt he's too happy about what the 9 did. So a little bit of a, I don't want to say rivalry, but a little bit of a disagreement on track between these two.
We'll see if the disagreement turns into a bump and run. Yeah, again, almost saw one there. I think I agree with you what he's doing. I think that was more just a, hey, I'm here, just in case you're planning on making a mistake.
Just a nice reminder.
Yeah, just a very friendly reminder as he took up all of his rearview mirror as they come back into the front straight now. Closest battle on the track between these two. Brody and Madden, their leads kind of settled out at around 5 seconds and change. No real inroads for either one.
And as he comes through the corner,
Campbell struggling to get on the accelerator. And we saw last time through here, Habib make a huge amount of time. Campbell wasn't quite able to hit the apex as well. Does a lot better this time. The struggles on the second half. You can see Habib already closing back into his rear bumper again. And oh no, Habib around.
Yeah, he's trying to put pressure on the 9, and then he put too much on himself, I guess. But that's a we're wondering which one of these two is gonna win, and looks like the 14 beat himself there. So yeah, that's an easy thing to do, but when you're trying to get everything, it's really tough to not spin it out.
I also want to take a look at the weather. It's a little bit on the warmer side, not too terrible. Seen a lot worse. 94 degrees on the track, 77 in the air. It's not overly slippery, although we have seen a few guys lose the rear end of their cars, so I think just diving in a little bit hotter than they need to.
Yeah, he's gonna try to make up that ground on the, I believe that's Anthony Cout. No, it's not him.
It is Anthony Cout, you're right.
Oh, it is. He's gone I think he's gone a lap down.
No, still in the lead lap. 48 seconds behind the leaders, though, so it's got a lot of time to make up. Currently running in 7th place.
Yeah, so he's just running here, not really making too much of a messy race. He's just running his own race and letting the spots come to him. But as you see in 2nd place, 20, he's been running way quicker. 2:06.5 last time by. That's really fast. Yeah, still has not been able to put a clean fast lap, but he's been fast regardless. David Madden, 2:07.5 for his last lap. He has been able to put in a 2:06.8, but we know Brody just looking a little bit faster in this race. So it's starting to close in. It's been close. It's been in the low 4s now, almost within the 3-second bracket. So he's catching. Starting to put ever more pressure on Madden here. It's going to be Madden. And I think the big thing, again, is going to be not doing what we saw with Habib and putting too much pressure on yourself and spinning out. But that Porsche is looking pretty solid. I haven't seen that a whole lot of instability there. So I think he should be okay. When you're racing for the win, I don't think you really care about clean laps. You just want to get to the leader. So he's been making definite improvements on his gap to the leader these last few times. But it seems like David Madden, every time he gets the car behind gets a great lap, he puts in a really solid lap that breaks up a bit as you see a mistake there.
I'm not sure that was a mistake or was that planned. I think, do you get a slowdown in that particular corner by running wide? I don't think you do.
At a certain point, I think you do, but you could definitely use a lot.
I almost want to say that it does look like Brody he's maybe been flirting around. This might have been by design, maybe in the first race that he was trying to figure out where the limits of the track are, because you to be very aggressive in the carousel on entry, and then here too, in the Max Verstappen line, just running on the curb. And if you can maximize, because there's a limit, there's a fine limit in some of these corners where you can run off. You can run a little bit off, a little either aggressive on apex or wide on the exit. You can gain more time, and the gap now 3.5 seconds. So you put
2:06.7. That. Yeah, the line he's taking is definitely working. It's not clean, but it's working. So he's throwing down laps that are quicker than the leader, but it's not the fastest lap. I don't think he's put on a clean lap, actually.
No, he's not. That's why every single lap has been dirty, but as you mentioned, I don't think at this point he cares. He's trying to track that green Ferrari up ahead. By comparison, here's David Madden, 207.2. I think he's been putting in significantly cleaner laps. But again, I think it's smart. It's very smart for the 20. You know, if you're not going to get a penalty for it, I mean, you get the off tracks, but you know, you're not worried about safety rating here. Or an incident limit, so might as well just run off track as much as possible. It's similar to what we saw when we had the Pro 2 trucks here. They ran the short course. At first, everyone was running in the lines, and they realized they can just run through the grass. And because the trucks were so slow, they would give that up. So by the last lap, everyone was just cutting through the S's through the grass.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't really matter if you get some dirty laps, because like another thing that's going to Travis is I guess the positive for him doing this, when he gets to the 8 car, he knows where the limits of the track are, so he can run a little bit harder where the 8 is going to have to run a little bit tighter, because he doesn't know exactly where the limits of the track are, where all the speed is.
Yeah, and also just looking too at the car, I see the rear brake rotors glowing in the heavy braking zones. Notice in turn 1 and in turn 12. Using every bit of car he's got available. Flying through, trying to catch David Madden well within 3 seconds, almost cutting down to 2 seconds. He's been making some fantastic lap times recently. And want to double check up ahead. I don't think Madden's got any lap cars ahead of him.
Yeah, it's going to come down to these two based on speed. How they find the speed is a little different between these two, but it's definitely a driver versus driver race right now. 3.6 the gap last time, 206.7 on the board. We're to see if that's cut down any by the second place car. 3.6 the gap. Looking like still 3.6, 206.6.
For both, 206.6 for both of them. By they were off by hundredths of a second. Oh, Brody wide in turn 1, gonna lose a few tenths. Gonna lose a lot of progress.
Yeah, it's especially with how close they are. That's a ton of time that he just gave up. So it's a matter of who makes the least mistakes. And as we saw out of the 20 there, he's definitely on that line.
You saw right there. He went a little bit on the anti-cut curve, but just a smidge. But he's flirting with death with a lot of these corners. Again, just trying to maximize his car. Problem is, as you mentioned, and as we saw, they're running wide in turn 1. Can't afford to make too many mistakes. Otherwise, he'll become his own worst enemy. Get no one really close to these guys. Next driver back is Cal Denise, 18 seconds back in 3rd place.
Yeah, and that little mistake costed him about a whole second with Travis right there. So I think it was a little bit more than a couple tenths that we were expecting. But yeah, that's a lot of time that he gave up there. But yeah, it seems like a little battle is going to heat up between these two. Cameron Gamble, he's been down some pretty tidy laps recently, so we'll see if he has anything for the number 4.
Yeah, Jason Owens directly ahead of him in that rainbow-colored Ferrari.
Really good-looking car, I gotta say.
But really slow through that corner. Campbell might have a run here heading towards the hairpin. A lot of the Ferraris have been struggling with that particular corner. And
I can tell you one that hasn't.
Yeah, the leader up ahead, he's been running really well. Westfelling and Owens not running as well through that particular section of track, but Owens is able to hold onto the lead out of the hairpin, but has got to stare as the Porsche going to get a little bit of slipstream. Probably not going to be able to make enough of a run this time by, but he's been diving in pretty hot into some of these corners.
Yeah, he's definitely stepped it up on the braking a little bit more compared to last race. Definitely making up a lot more time. I think he's lapping fairly decently. Not last time, he ran a 217, so that was when he had his incident, but 209.
Oh, directly ahead of him, Owen spinning out.
Right into the door. Yeah, that's not a place you want to hit the car.
It was already a little bit wide in turn 12, then heading towards turn number 13. This is, again, really tricky. You ask a lot of the car. Oh, it was already loose in the middle of the corner. And around she went.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to get a little too wide of a line there, and then he just clipped some curbing in it. It was enough to upset the car too much.
Trying to look and make sure the car is driving straight. It looks like it is, so you think he should be okay. Looks like he doesn't need a pit, so he will stay out and continue to run.
He's running some decent laps. Not that last time, obviously, because of the hit to the door there, but
Before that,
yeah, before that little incident there, he's been running some decent laps, especially given that he hasn't had a full race of laps under his belt.
here's Christopher Habib trying to catch back up to Campbell. Ooh, a little bit sliding out of turn number 1. But yeah, catching up to Jason Owens now. About 1.8 seconds back behind him, and then Anthony Couch, last of our runners at the moment. Only 8 cars remaining on the track, all of which in the lead lap. Westfling's bowed out about 3 laps ago, and Hoffman called it a day very early on after some contact, I think, on lap number 1. Taking a look.
Front,
yeah,
it was a 2:06.3 last time by for the number 8 car. Very quick lap. It wasn't clean, but I guess he's flirting with those track limits that the 20 was looking at.
Yeah, he pretty much has to at this point. And by comparison, Brody ran a 207.6, which you could have imagined that would have definitely been in the 206s had he not gone wide in turn number 1. This time by...
Oh!
Wow, clean fast lap, 206.297. That was almost identical to the lap he ran prior. And
yeah, and I think this battle for the win has settled down a bit because the 20 struggling to hit 206s, and he's just been in the 207s, so... I guess if he's going to turn around, he has to turn around now. He has to run a second average a lap.
Yeah, that's a lot to
ask.
He's going to have to hope that David makes a mistake here. But we've seen, for the most part, few mistakes from David, but not many. So we'll keep an eye and see that Gat could dive down should he. You know, we saw him around here, went a little bit loose as he's pushing for a fast lap. Now he's not just he's pushing for fast laps, but not just because he wants to, because he kind of has to. And has brought on some pretty solid pace. Matter is, can he keep this up for these last few laps?
Yeah, he has to hit every corner correctly. He has 5 laps. I mean, 5 laps is a very long time at COTA. That's about 10 minutes of racing left. So, just to keep that gap under 5 seconds for about 10 more minutes. So we'll see if he can do it. But it's definitely a tall task because this Porsche can really match him if he hits the lap right, but he's just a lot more prone to mistakes.
Brody still continuing his quest to chase down Madden. Take a little bit look back at Owens and Habib as they start to get closer and closer to one another. Owens tiptoeing through the S's, not looking as quick. Habib looking a lot quicker in behind. Made up about 2/3 that section alone.
And he's definitely catching at a pretty decent rate. I doubt that damage on the door is helping him. That's a pretty vulnerable spot on the car to lose damage because you can lose a lot of straightaway speed from that. So we'll see if he can hang on here, but it doesn't really look like it with how much he's getting on the corners and on the straightaways. Didn't only get that much on corner exit, but that damage is really holding back that Ferrari.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that is definitely costing him quite a bit. We'll see, though. Catching is one thing, passing is another, as they say. So we'll see if Evans can try to hold up Habib. It's going to be a tall order again, almost 5 laps of holding someone up. Not an easy feat.
COTA's a really good track for trying to pass. There's a lot of passing areas, but there's also a lot of areas where you can defend. If someone dives it up in the inside on that heavy braking zone, they can run you wide through this corner. And same goes for the next corner. They can run on the apex for this corner, but then up into this one right here, they can run you wide. So it's a pretty, I guess it plays both sides of the advantage for passing and defending.
Yeah, it really does. They did design this track fairly well. It looks, especially that particular section, it does look really slow and awkward, and it is. But when you get people side by side, it almost is always an entertaining battle because, as you mentioned, you can see either. You know, it's not just said and done because there's so many switchbacks. Sometimes it goes to the guy on the inside, it goes to the outside, and it really depends on the driver to show their ability to see if they can wrestle it from the driver they're fighting with. And we're seeing Habib close in again a little bit. Actually lost a little bit in that last sector. It's gone out back to a second. I'll take another look back at our dynamic duo.
Yeah, very quick time for Brody that last time at 206.0. He's running really quickly, but it's not clean laps, so...
No, and it's gone back to 6.7 seconds. I think he had made a mistake at some point early on in the lap. So it's been getting more, the gap's been getting bigger and bigger between these two men. It's been running consistently low 206s. Brody's been able to go faster, but not consistently, and that's the biggest problem for him.
Yeah, he either strikes out or hits a home run, so it's really a 20. Ooh.
Yeah, big mistake from Campbell a little bit early on. I want to go take a look at that, but it's starting to get spicy here. Owens and Habib side by side into the hairpin.
Yeah, these two. Oh, he's really got on the brakes, but oh, is it enough to get to the 9? This car has definitely had some run-ins with him, so we'll see how round 3 plays out between these two.
Yeah, I was going to say fight between both these guys. We'll see. And then now it's getting to the end of the race, so you're less likely to probably let someone, give someone some extra room on the track. They're going to be pinching them to the apex and to the corners, so we'll see how much of a fight Campbell's going to pull it up. As you mentioned, we've definitely seen these guys have a history. Wow, Evans almost making a dive back up the inside on Habib. 3-way fight for 5th.
Yeah, they're all fighting for a top 5 here. Oh, that Ferrari's really charging it in on their 14, so he's trying to get as close as he can to him to try to get 2 for 1 when these two get fighting. Oh, all over him.
And you can see Habib inviting himself in on that particular section of track as these guys work through the carousel. And Habib just waiting for an opportunity to strike. He's so close to Campbell, he can just kind of dive it in any particular corner. Will he dive it up in the final corner and just send in? No, he'll stick in behind.
Oh!
I think he's trying to scare him out and just run a little bit wide on exit, but it's been costing Habib more than anything. And here comes Owens now with a great run on the back. He's actually closer to Habib here. And
he's going to go for it. Oh, no, he faked him.
Victim, I think, was trying to hope that Habib would run a little bit wide, but Habib, I think, is more concerned with the Porsche up in front of him. Porsche, Audi, Ferrari here, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, and these three are really separated not too highly in lap times. They're just running nose to tail here, just waiting for one another to make a mistake. That was really close with the anti-cut curb there. So.
Fighting their way through the S's. Campbell we've seen in this section. Oh, he runs a little bit wide, opens the door up for Habib, but can't squeeze his Audi there.
Yeah, but he could run straighter through this corner, and he's gonna go through this section here. Oh, and he's gonna get through the heavy braking zone here, and close. Oh, he had to lock up a little bit.
Oh, gets a little bit loose on the exit. Was trying to take curb, upsettled the car, had to back off. So he's gonna lose a little bit of time. It's getting spicy here at COTA. Last 2-3 laps of the race. Up ahead, it looks like Brody is officially given up. He's been running slower lap times, I think, just trying to nurse the car home at this point. Gap now 9 seconds between himself and Madden. I think David has, I guess, well, Goliath has yielded to David, I guess, in this case. Brody's going to settle for 2nd place.
Yeah. Great effort, though. He's definitely giving him a run for his money after the 8 car won by, I think, about 20 seconds or so. So that was a very dominating performance by him first time out. It's not going to be quite as big of a margin this time, but definitely a valiant effort.
Meanwhile, got this fantastic scrap between these 3 guys in the closing laps of this race, and trying to see if Habib can find anything. He's actually losing a little bit of time. Campbell's been looking a little bit quicker on this second half of the lap.
He's hitting the apexes very nicely. It's just that Porsche just has a lot more exit speed compared to the Audi, so you can only get to him through the slipstream, and he really charges it on quarter entry, but we'll see if he can get through the S's better than he can this time. That's what Cameron's really struggled with throughout the race, is getting through the S's.
Yeah, on the brakes, and you see right there, probably wasn't as aggressive as he could have been through turn 1, because Habib made up a huge amount of time. And here they go through the S's.
Oh, he really sent it that time.
He did. You can see how close he's coming to those curbs. Always has been running a little bit wide there, trying to take a later exit, but that Audi is looking a lot more hooked up through these high-speed corners.
And he's running that corner really tighter. That allows him to straighten it out through this corner. And he's all over him, way closer than last time. See how he gets through here. He's going to try. He's diving it. Oh, a little bit of a block there.
Yeah, block from Campbell, but Campbell runs a little bit wide. Habib can't quite maximize that. They both get a poor exit. Now, can Habib get a run They try to catch back up. It looks like Owens is retired, so he's not going to be continuing on to just these two fighting for position. Maybe trying to find something.
Yeah, Jason Owens got disqualified, so maybe a unfair black flag.
That's a surprise. Didn't quite see what happened. It might have. I think he might have gotten off cut course, and I think was trying to stick with these guys as much as possible. Unfortunately, COTA got bopped for cutting. So yeah, I guess as you mentioned, he had. Whoa! No! Around he goes.
And that's gonna put the pin in that battle. So looks like yeah, he just got too much curb there. Tried to get too much on exit and. Around she came.
I think Campbell did a great job of just kind of parking on the apex. I think that was causing him to slow down excessively. You can see right here, just wasn't able to get back on the throttle. I think Habib tried to put more wheel, put more gas to maximize the exit, and around he went.
Second time this race that's happened, so played the same trick twice, and it worked both times. So, yeah, back up front. Well, no, this is for third. Cal Denise just ahead of Cory Freeman.
Yeah, another battle heating up. Lap and a half remaining for these two guys. Race leaders nearly 40 seconds up the road from these guys. I think they're actually coming to the white flag just about now.
Yeah, just coming through the final 3 corners right now. He's going to bring it on down to the second to last corner. And he's going to come through this little straightaway here just before the start-finish line to take the white flag in this race.
And for Madden, would say it was easy. This time, no, it's not as easy. It was looking like he legitimately had a challenge from Brody, and Brody gave up his best fight. I think Brody would probably find some solace. I think technically took the fastest lap of the race. In fact, ran a 206 flat last time through. Was entirely clean, but oh, sorry, that was Madden running a 206 flat last time.
Yeah,
wow.
Dominating fashion nonetheless. Margin of victory is not going to be quite as large as the last one, but he's putting last few laps. He's putting on a clinic of lap times.
Let's see here, Freeman and Denise now fighting it nose tail, coming to the white flag for both of these guys. And does Freeman have anything to give Denise here?
Yeah, probably one last haymaker through the S's, but we'll see. There's definitely been quicker, even with a damaged car, so we'll see how that plays out for him. But
I didn't show it quickly in time. Freeman landed a 206.6 the lap prior, ran a 207.6. last time by, so definitely has some speed. It doesn't matter, he can't afford to make a mistake, because again, last lap of the race, he's got to hope if anything Cal Denise makes a mistake.
Yeah, this car blinking out is definitely I'm not sure if it helps with dirty air. I think it would because you know, you get some glimpses of clean air, so I'm not sure, but it's definitely not helping the car in front situation Cal's. With his connection problems, maybe he might lose the connection before the race is over. But as you see, he's charging that apex really nicely. He got a really good drive off the corner, even when taking a wider line. So that'll help him into this rundown into this corner.
Yeah, just in general, the Audi's able to switch direction a little bit better. It's been helping him a lot. In that first sector, runs really, really wide, completely misses the apex. Here comes Freeman back on him immediately, and he's gonna have a nice tow.
Yeah, he's going to get a nice draft up into this corner. Up front, though, the leader's going to take into the final or second to last corner. He's going to come around and into the final turn, take the checkered flag.
Want to see there's a dive here. Oh, and it looks like there's going to be a dive between Freeman and Cal Denise. Both of them going to park it on the apex in turn 12. And we'll see them, both of them go side by side through the arena section. Freeman going to try to come back. Over. He's going to try to cross over in Cal Denise, and he's going to park it on the apex here. Freeman taking a wider line. Going to set up a run here. They come flying through the carousel now. Let's see who's got the better car to work with here.
Yeah, this 5 has had really good exits. He has one last shot into the second to last corner here. Oh, running real wide, but we're going to see if he can get this corner here. Oh, too wide. And that's going to be the end of that story. The 55. Oh, he's going to maybe go for it here.
I was thinking he would. It was looking like he might size him up. Fortunately, he's not. Kelly's going to settle for third. Freeman back and fourth. And up ahead, David Madden didn't see him catch the line. Cause we caught him catching the line in race number 1. Wanted to catch that battle. That was definitely fun to see at the end. But David Madden taking home the checkered flag in race number 2. Cal Denise, and they see Cory Freeman upside down and getting a little bit of a nudge from Cal Denise. I guess that's a battle well done. Cameron Campbell working his way through the final few corners. Will finish off in 5th. Anthony Couch working his way through in his BMW. Christopher Habib, I think he had another off the lap prior, didn't catch it. I did see him lose a lot of time. That allowed Couch to get his way on through, so Habib going to finish. Oh, he's still struggling for grip. Around he goes again in the carousel.
Yeah, 2:18.7 that last time. Maybe that was probably the place of error last time out.
I think he's just burned off the rear tires or overheated them at the very least and just been struggling for rear end grip. So he's going to finish back in 7th place. Anthony Couch, you see him there. His BMW, lone BMW in the field, going to come home in 6th place.
Yeah, nice tidy race for him. Haven't really seen too many errors for him. Clean car. Solid finish. Oh, we missed.
And a snipe from Campbell. At least attempt to snipe. We'll see if he tries to get Habib here. Up and Couch even going to turn around, or both of them going to try to get Habib. We'll see. There's Habib. And oh! And it's good.
Does he stick the landing? Yes!
Sticks the landing at the end there. As these guys engage in carnage, will pop up your race results here. Some great stuff, a lot closer, a lot more action in race number 2. Thought it was going to be more of the same, but David Madden taking home the win. Effectively, it looks like it was the same, but for a second, a hot lap battle between himself and Travis Brody. Unfortunately for Brody, wasn't quite able to get there in time by the end of it. Going to finish 12 seconds behind. As we mentioned, Cory Freeman, their little scrap for 3rd place and 4th place. Gonna end with Denise rounding out your podium. I'll wait a minute or so here, see if anyone jumps in for an interview. But your thoughts on that race, Liam?
Definitely a really good race from the 8 car or the 8 car. The 20 definitely put up a really big challenge. So those two, definitely the class of the field tonight. Definitely a lot of good battles. We saw some tempers boil over sometimes, and a pretty solid race.
Yeah, indeed, some great GT3 action here. These guys are not done yet on SimTV. If I'm not mistaken, they got 3 more weeks remaining. We've been broadcasting them every 2 weeks. Next broadcast for them will be on the 27th of April. So I'm not sure what track that's going to be. We've been kind of getting them last second. It's kind of been a surprise of which track they're going to. Last week they're at Alton Park. This week COTA. We'll see where they are going to be next in 2 weeks' time. What's coming up on SimTV, though, a little bit of a break in action, which is convenient because I'm going to be out of the country for a while. Next race coming up on SimTV should be on April 23rd. It'll be Outsiders Racing League at the Charlotte Roval. Definitely going to be a fun race there. And then on the 24th of April, it's going to be the Indy Elite Indy 500. And that's not just for show. They are actually doing all 500 miles of Indianapolis, 200 laps. And we've seen some fantastic races in the past. It'll be our 3rd time broadcasting their Indy 500, so really looking forward to that race. They always bring out a bunch of guys and a lot of quick guys as well. Should be a whole lot of fun. And then, as I mentioned, the 27th will be the next time these guys appear on SimTV. It doesn't look like we got anyone in the waiting room, so it looks like we'll call it out for now. But yeah, fantastic race from this group of guys here at COTA. My name is Finn Kuna here with Liam Sheen, and we'll be signing out for tonight. Thank you for watching.